All right, hello, what's going on? This is the HYROX Rundown brought to you by RaceBrain. We have the most special episode that we've ever had on this feed. Today, I'm joined by Marcus Wallace, Jack Bauer, and we are going to talk about how to travel for HYROX, how to leverage your credit cards, how to leverage membership, how to do the whole thing. This isn't going to be for everybody. But if you're locked in for this, there's going to be some serious value here, and I'm real excited to talk about it. My name is Rich Ryan, by the way. Didn't even introduce myself. Not Matt Mason. We're just hanging out. Debo, what are your feelings right now? How is your emotional state with this conversation we're about to have?
I am a little nervous, but this is Jack and my time to shine. We will come through for the people. And yes, you are correct. This will not be for everyone, but for the people it is for, their life is going to change.
You will thank us.
And Jack, this is so as people listen to this podcast who are super interested in HYROX, right? Do you have like a certain source of information that is like your race brain for personal finance and credit card points?
Basically, like if RaceBrain is on a certain level, what's the equivalent? I would say the Points Guy is my go-to website for a lot of travel blogs. But they're not the only one. There are a ton of good ones. Google's your friend. And Rich, you said this episode might not be for everyone. Last time I checked, most people don't walk to get to the venue, so I think it actually is for everyone.
I think everybody should do it. It's like a footwear episode. It's like a clothing episode. Everybody wears clothes. Do they get that information from us? No, they don't. Yeah. But we are going to be talking about doing a deep dive. Yeah. So you guys are taking a step into the big leagues. Typically, consumers of this type of content, now purveyors of this content. So we're real excited. We did a lot of research on this. So what got us thinking about this is last year in Chicago, Debo hit me up. He's like, "Hey, do you have a roommate?" I was like, "No, but I got a room." He's like, "Okay, you want to stay with me?" I was like, "Sure." He's like, "Okay," because I need to have a certain amount of nights. So I want you to pay for half of my nights so I can continue to get my status. I was like, done. So I got to see what it was like to stay with someone who has a certain level of status in a hotel chain. And it was lovely. We had a lot of perks. I felt like VIP. We got stuff. We had a nice room. And in that, I started to really got my wheels turning a little bit and started to kind of pick Marcus's brain about like how this all works, what to do. And from there, we kind of got into conversation, and Marcus helped me figure out the best way to leverage my points and figure out some different credit cards and different ways to navigate this world. And I was able to stay at the Sable in Chicago for World Championships for 5 nights for free, just using some cards, using some other ways to get these points up to a certain level that I was like, it made my trip so much more enjoyable. And honestly, when you don't have to worry about like the travel and it's super convenient, it can improve performance. True or false, boys? This will make you race better.
100% true.
I remember that trip. That was the Hyatt-centric Meg Mile in Chicago. And yes, based on Rich's pancake consumption in the morning, I think that's what led him to his first 54 whatever time. There was lots of pancakes.
For itself. The breakfast alone, the pancake consumption, I just made up all the dollars I spent on the hotel just by how many pancakes I ate. So we're going to just do a deep dive on that. We're going to talk about some credit cards. We're going to talk about point systems for hotels. We're going to talk about point systems for flights. We're going to give certain archetypes to help you understand how you as the listener can take this and figure out the best practices for you if you wanted to then kind of go down this route. So for that, we should lay down some like a framework first, some groundwork for who this is actually for. And as I just laid out, like with Marcus in that last trip, I was 38 years old and I had a bad experience with credit cards going into it. Right. So I just kind of stayed away because I didn't use them responsibly. And like I had to get to a certain point in my life that I felt like, okay, now I can handle this and understand how this all works. So Marcus, what are some things that like we should really focus on? Like if you are somebody that wants to take this on, like what are some rules that you would have for them?
The number one rule by far is that you never carry a balance on your credit cards. You pay them off in full every month. If you're carrying a balance and you end up paying, I don't even know what the interest rate is on that, 20%.
Yeah, it's insane.
That easily outweighs any benefit you would have from doing some of these things we talk about. So that would be number one. Never carry a balance, pay it off in full every month.
Yeah, Jack, what would you say about that? Like if we're like, because that is the thing, right? We're going to talk about things you can get for free and things that you can upgrade and basically the things that you can get. But yes, that APR, that interest rate, that is going to exceed what other type of value can come from this. So Jack, what else do you think about like in terms of like rules or like when to kind of start this?
Well, oftentimes, and I 100% agree with Marcus, like don't have a balance. I don't want anybody yelling at us when they're suddenly having the mafia after them for own money. But
don't take a credit card out financed by the mafia. There's plenty of banks.
That'll be a bad one.
There's banks that will
You'll find out about which
finance this. Yeah.
Probably the only mafia mentioned.
That's a good rule.
Episode.
Excellent. Rule number 2.
Yeah. Don't do
that.
FDIC
insured bank.
But just to add on to that, a lot of the times you're going to see get 50,000 points or whatever they call it a welcome offer or a sign up bonus. You have to spend a certain amount of money in order to get that within a small time frame. Usually, say it might be spend $4,000 on this card within 3 months. Have purchases aligned, like know that you have a home improvement project or you have to have a car repair or you just have those ready so that you're not looking for an excuse to spend money so that you get these, because that might overextend you a little bit where you weren't intending to spend money and now you're like, oh crap, I don't even have this money to begin with. So make sure you have something lined up.
That's a great point. Like don't get the credit card and then be like, I need to now spend. And then that's potentially how you can rack up a debt that you can't pay off every single month. That's a great point, Jack. And then with the, like when you're opening credit cards, we'll stay on this point now. How does that affect your credit score, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of information out there around what it will do, like how, like, and like, is it bad to have a bunch of them? Is it bad to open them within a certain time frame? Like, what actually happens when you're starting to look around to do this stuff, Marcus?
So a lot of people do get worried about their credit score coming in. As long as you have a decent one, you'll be able to get approved for these cards. There may be a
what's decent?
I don't even know.
700 is you probably won't
plus.
get approved if you're under 700.
So don't they have actual premium? Don't they have words like that, like good and great for credit score? Isn't that kind of how it is?
Yes, and you can check all those. You can get free credit reports. You can check everything. But yes, generally, as you start, after there's a credit pull, there might be a slight dip. But overall, the more you get into it, you're actually probably going to have a higher credit score because things like credit card utilization. So how much credit do you have available to you and what percentage of that are you actually using? That becomes very small. And those are two really big factors in that score. So I know for me, the whole time I've been 800 plus on a credit score. So I would say as long as you're paying off your balances in full, it will probably actually end up improving over the long term.
And that term utilization, Marcus, that you mentioned, say that you get approved for a credit card and they're like, you're allowed to spend $10,000. Don't spend $10,000. You want to have that as little as possible. And I often will pay off my card multiple times in a month. Say I go to the grocery store, spend $100, I'll pay it off then instead of letting all those individual $100 add up over the month, because that keeps that utilization ratio lower and that impacts your score. So that's just another tip I'd give.
So credit score, you feel okay about it. Like as long it's not going to necessarily hurt your score as long as you have the money to pay off the debt. That's what banks want to see is like, are you a reliable person who will pay us back more or less, right? Like, because they do make their money on the interest, but you're not going to get a loan if in the past you have not been able to show that you can pay it back, basically, right? So if you have the money, you should be fine. So let's move into like the points thing, because this was something else that I was just like, what is this even like? Because this is made up. right? Like these not like the numbers that we're talking about, they're just like not real things. So it's like, what are a lot of points? How do these things work? Like, is like, so Jack, like if I'm trying to like wrap my brain around what is a good amount of points, say I've had a credit card, haven't really thought about this a while. I know I do get some points. Most credit cards have some sort of reward structure with that. And I go back and look into whatever my points thing. I pay off my credit card. I have good, reliable credit, but I just don't look at my points and I don't really even know what is a point. How is it kind of like determined, and like what is like the value?
Sure. I would say, just for some of the listeners who aren't familiar, points and miles are used interchangeably. They're the same thing. So that terminology we might mention both. Just wanted to
Yeah, good call.
define that. Points basically are ways that you can buy a flight or stay at a hotel or make some type of expense without paying cash. You might have a small tax associated with it, like a lot of US flights. If you buy it in points, you might have a $5.60 tax that you can't pay that portion with points. But overall, it's basically you have spent money on your card, and either through a sign up bonus, meaning you spent a certain amount in 3 months and then they give you a big chunk, or you get 3 points at every restaurant. So if you have a $30 bill, you get 90 points, and that adds up over time. And then you can trade those points to the airline or hotel to get your flight. And most of the time, the airline or hotel might say this one way segment is 10,000 points or 15,000 points, or to stay at this hotel, it's 20,000 points. And you have to exchange those in order to take that flight or stay at the hotel. But yeah, it's kind of like made up currency, but there's also a real value associated with it.
Kinda. I mean, they also and then Marcus, like they are all like they're not all the same, right? Like the purchases could determine how many points you get back. Does the card itself, like, is 10,000 points the same across the board?
It would definitely be different. Many of them end up being like 1.5 to 2 cents per point is sort of how you value them. But yes, they are different across the board. Credit card points generally are more, I think, more useful. So those would be things like getting points from Chase or from American Express. Reason being, then you can transfer those to different airlines or to different hotels. Whereas just airline or hotel points, you're sort of stuck with them in that. So yes, there's definitely variance within a point and what people would value them at.
And to add on to what Marcus just said, it is a one-way transfer. So once you transfer points from your big cards, which would be Chase, American Express, Citi, or Capital One, those are kind of the general type of cards, and you transfer it into a specific airline. Like say you want to fly on United, as soon as you take those Chase points and give them to United, you can't ever send them back the other way. They are stuck as United. But if you have a United credit card, you can't send it to Chase. So that's why Marcus and I are big proponents of get the general card, and then you can decide where you want to put it instead of get the specific card, because then all that you can do is spend on whatever deals they may have available.
All right, that's a go ahead, Marcus.
As I was thinking about this too, I think so. In the points game, you would call those transferable currencies because you can transfer them to different airlines. One of the main things with points is you want to be as flexible as possible because these deals may pop up and you don't really know. One thing we have, if you're traveling, let's say you're traveling for a HYROX race, obviously you aren't as flexible with the dates. But then what you can be flexible with if you use those transferable currencies is you can then be transferable with like what airline I'm going to be on, what hotel I'm going to stay at. So I think that, especially in this world of how we're trying to redeem them, is one of the main benefits as well.
So if they're going to use this as a rule, right? Like you want to like this flexible, transferable piece, you kind of think of that more like cash rather than in these individual pieces where that's more like credit, right? Like if you are getting an airline point, that's more like a credit, a gift card to that specific brand, where the big banks, it can kind of act a little bit more like straight up cash where you can kind of move it around and spend on what you want to spend. I'm sure there's certain limits.
Like a Simon gift card versus a single store at the mall.
Simon.
Yeah, remember the Simon Mall gift cards?
Simon Mall.
Never mind. That I was
Marcus,
trying to say.
do you know what that is?
I don't know anything Jack talks
Okay.
about.
Did you just break out some like geographical mall, like the Palmer Park Mall?
No. It's not a
that you go
specific one.
to?
It's a brand that bought up a bunch of malls, and then they sold gift cards, and you can use them at any store at the mall. And I was saying, as opposed to like you have a specific one store you can go to. That's the differentiation.
The
This,
analogy potentially works. However,
Yeah.
no one gets it.
If you grew up in New Hampshire, you might get it. But
There you go.
Yeah.
For our New England listeners, if you're racing
Yeah.
in Boston, maybe you went to the Simon Mall conglomerate. Marcus,
This
what's
will
up?
be a little confusing, but this is a relevant example as I was just booking my Toronto flight to go to the Toronto HYROX. Alaska Airlines has very nice award chart for some shorter flights. So it was only 4,500 points each way to get there. But since I had transferable currencies, which was through Amex, I transferred Amex points to Hawaiian so that they are partnered with Alaska, so I could transfer them to Alaska so I could book an American Airlines flight on Alaska. Now, I know that's a little in the weeds, but it shows sort of the value and if you get creative, why those points are more valuable.
Let's start with the basics before we go into some crazy
Just
thing
I
like
know
that.
I know it was in the weeds, but just
I do want to touch on. I have personal questions about that. I do have questions about that, but and then I guess anything else that we need to lay out, like in terms of just like the fundamentals, the foundations of understanding, like how these work, right? Like first thing, get a credit card. If it does have an opening offer or whatever, like an incentive offer for you to join that credit card that will offer more points if you spend a certain amount of time, whatever. There's those on pretty much any credit card that you're going to be looking at. So get a credit card, never carry a balance, accumulate points. I guess that's another thing too. The spending, we can think about roughly 1 to 2 cents in terms of dollars to points. Is that how that works?
No, like say that you go to the grocery store and you spend $100, you'll get if it's a 1 point per dollar spent at a grocery store, you'll get 100 points towards it. He's saying the value of all
The
those
value
points
of those points
when
is
you
100
buy a
cents.
flight is
Right.
1.2 to 2 cents per mile, basically.
So I guess then when we're talking about, we've thrown around a couple numbers in terms of like what the expectations are. In terms of accumulation, what are those expectations? I know this is going to depend, and we're going to get into this later about your specific instance, like who you are, but like how many points is usable? Like how many, and how long is it going to take me to get like points if I'm just like a regular person?
Well, most
Right,
of the
like-
points you're going to get are from that sign up bonus. For instance, when a while ago I got the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is a pretty solid credit card. We're probably going to mention that several times, and that came with a 100,000 point bonus. Like I'm not spending $100,000 over the course of a year. Like I can't get that. I mean, between utility bills, car stuff, basically everything besides rent, I'd probably be lucky to get 30,000 points over the course of a year just through natural spending. So most of the chunk is going to come from your big sign up bonus. Unless you're
Marcus,
a small business owner or something, then
right. Marcus, do you have any like rules of thumb on that? Like in terms of like, okay, opening a credit card, or I've done it, I've used my points, and now my balance is like pretty low. What's a reasonable amount of time to think about like how long you need to have the card to actually accumulate anything that's like usable?
Yeah, I mean, well, Jack is right. Sign up bonuses are sort of the way to go for those big chunks. Past that, with your everyday spend, if you want to start maximizing that, you should be looking at hopefully getting like 2 points per every dollar you spend. That could be in a variety of ways. I mean, if you're spending a lot of money at restaurants, there are certain cards that might be 3 or 4 times spend even at restaurants. So you can look at the different types of cards and how you would do that. But I think I was thinking about this, sort of how to frame it, especially if we talk about redeeming them. So people have an idea of how many points they could be accumulating in a year. If you signed up for one credit card, generally maybe 60 to 80,000 points would be the sign up bonus. Plus, if you put all your spend on that for the year, you'd probably look at around 100,000 points in a year. just for signing up for one credit card each year. Most people, they think that sounds like a lot, and then they get into it. They're signing up for one every 3 months. So then all of a sudden you're at 250,000 points a year. But I would say as a good, even without really getting into it that much, 100,000 points would be a relatively good
Reasonable.
level to
Yeah.
acquire in a year.
That's
And
like a
you'll
good amount. You could like get something pretty cool or pretty good in terms of like,
Oh, yeah.
like stays or flights or whatever.
And Marcus's example of a 4,500 point one-way flight from Milwaukee to Toronto, it's like that's a great value.
It's steal.
Other time, like if he bought that, or if he looked on a different airline that wasn't his fancy Alaska Airlines transfer way, it might be 10,000 points or so. So you can find ways to creatively use them. It's just get the biggest sum possible, and you can make them go really, really far.
Okay. Last thing, then I'm going to throw some scenarios at you, and then we're going to compete because that's what we do here. We're going to debate, and there's going to be a winner, and there's going to be a big time loser. But we're talking about the sign up bonuses. That's the move. When is it, if at all, like just irresponsible to just like open up, like I opened a card, got the bonus. Is there going to be some sort of limit in how many other cards I can open? Is there going to be a reason to or to not do that? Like, so say I have a big, Jack mentioned, I have a big purchase, whatever. I'm getting an air conditioning, so I can use credit on that. Bang, then
Just
it's
did that
taken care
last
of.
August. Oh, yeah. 16,000
Exactly.
points. Yeah.
And then you know, after that, 3 months later, I have another big house project or whatever it is. Should I open another credit card to get those bonus offer again? And when doing that, should it be from the same bank provider, same point provider, or will that they not let you do that? You guys getting what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yes. If you, I think generally best strategy, one of the most restrictive banks is Chase, but they're also, like we talked about, probably have some of the most valuable points. So you probably want to start with Chase. They have certain rules. They call it like a 524 rule, where you can only get 5 cards in a 2-year period.
5 Chase cards. It doesn't matter.
5 Chase cards.
That's still quite a bit.
Yeah. It actually includes other cards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you like applied for an Amex card personal, it would go in your Chase 5/24 count. And then if you're over 5, then Chase won't accept anymore. So generally starting with Chase is good. But yeah, like I mean, you could definitely wait 60 days and get applied again. I would say every like 3 to 6 months is probably more reasonable. Past that, you might not get approved for some cards.
And then all these, or most of them, are probably going to have an annual fee, and before you know it, if you have 10 cards, you're going to have like $2,000 in annual fees associated with these things. So it's like, are you really getting the value anymore? So
Right.
you want to look at all things.
And a bank, generally, you still want to be a good customer for the bank. So if you start opening up a card and then the annual fee hits and you cancel it every year, they might start just denying you for all their cards. So generally, you want to at least have that card for a year. There are certain things you can do in the future then. They're called retention bonuses. So you just say, hey, I'm thinking about canceling this. They say, well, what if we give you 30,000 points to stay with us for another year? Then you do that, then you cancel the next year. But yes, so you still want to be a good customer. Churning is what they call it when you're just really rocking.
Don't do that if you're starting this. Don't do that.
And that's, I mean, they're keeping track, right? You have a file, they understand what the score is here. These are great offers, but like if you take advantage, like you're probably going to just be kicked out of certain banks, which makes sense. That seems fair. That seems fair. But like, if it's like, is there a general rule of thumb that you've applied to your own practice for this, where it's like, I opened a card X days ago, or do you look at it in the future, be like, okay, I see that there is, like, I can kind of time things out a little bit. How do you guys think about it? Like, is it 60 days? Is it 6 months? Or is it just when a good offer comes along and you're like, I've been looking at this one, I'm gonna grab it?
It's offer based for me. If there's one where it's like 100,000 points and it's never offered more than 70,000 before, it's like, ooh, that's catching my attention a little bit. And if I have a justified reason to spend that money over the next few months to get that sign up bonus, I'll probably jump on it.
Tebow?
I am probably in the same boat yet now that I've run through a decent amount of credit cards. Just when I'm on the blogs and they say, "Oh, this card has a great bonus right now," then I'll hop on that. But yeah, I probably now I'm not doing more than a card every like 3 months.
Okay, so this is what's also kind of scary, right? Like I mentioned, I have not had a great relationship with credit cards, so I'm like cautious on this stuff. My credit's fine, and you guys have mentioned your credit is fine. So like, as long as you are like not just churning and just not taking advantage of it, there's no reason not to have a bunch of cards, right? Like, what is a realistic amount of cards that people should have? Like when I'm thinking about my own, I have like 2 for the business and I have 1 personal, right? That's
Start
like
checking.
Jack's out here counting. whipping
One
them out.
as we start talking about this number of cards too, since you just mentioned business cards, one thing you could really look into as far as earning more points is if you have, I feel like we probably have a good amount of people in our audience, maybe they're trainers or they own a gym, getting a personal card for that. Many of them have very, very good sign up bonuses without even that much spend. So like I've run through all the Chase Inc. business cards. I've had my wife run through them because she was a personal trainer at my gym.
You need an LLC basically or something.
You do not actually even need an LLC. I believe she
Really?
just applied for them with
Oh.
social security number. So yes, they are very valuable as well. You could look into that and start applying to business cards also.
Would you say it's typically about double the offer for business versus personal? That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of the Chase Inc. are close to 100,000 sometimes with low spend and no annual fees. So I was rolling in points for a while there.
That's pretty good. And they do that because businesses in their brain will probably spend more than individuals. Right. So they're like
Yes.
the
Recurring expenses. Yeah.
the recurring expenses. And so that's also why the target number is going to be a little higher generally to hit those bonus numbers. How many cards should we have?
I've got 11.
11. Okay. And are you canceling them as well? Like how many
I've only canceled a few in the past.
So you've had like maybe 15, 20?
No, I think I've got rid of a few and added a few. I've never really had more than this amount. This is kind of where I sit.
Debo?
I think I'm probably right around there as well. Yeah, and we talked about annual fees also, but some cards have annual fees that are like super simple to use. Like I have a Hyatt card; it's a $95 annual fee, but every time it comes up, you get a free night at a hotel. So I mean, as long as you actually use that night, it's essentially you're probably making money on that if you're doing a $200 night hotel.
And I have a Delta one where I get a $99 companion certificate, so anybody can fly with me.
Basically
so
a
it's
free
like that
flight.
offsets the fees. Yeah, it's the same idea as Marcus.
And that's kind of how these fees work. I was looking at one of the more expensive ones and they had a ton of like benefits to it. And it's like, oh, if you use all these benefits, but some of them I was like, I wouldn't use that. So it's like it's kind of like weighing it out. They definitely can pay for themselves in a hurry if you're gonna be like locked in for it. But if it's something like $400 to like $800 and you're not going to use them all, then it might not pay out for you in terms of monetarily. Experience wise, it could, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get into some scenarios.
How about a couple success stories, Marcus? I want to hear like best place you've stayed. Give the listeners a little preview of what they can do.
Well, my most recent stay was for the HYROX World Championships in Chicago. They have a Park Hyatt there. It's about a half a block off of Michigan Avenue.
Is that their best? Is that their best?
Hyatt is actually headquartered in Chicago, and many people say it is one of the best Park Hyatts in the world.
Oh, but Park in terms of the property, that's going to be Hyatt's nice.
Park Hyatt is their luxury brand. It's their highest, sort of in the Hyatt family.
You gotta spell these things out for us common folk. I don't know.
So it's not the Days Inn.
So I stayed one night at the Hyatt Regency with my my partner Dawson, but then when the family came down, we got a room at the Park Hyatt. I believe it was 29,000 points a night. And then I had one free night certificate that I got from getting status with them. So 58,000 points plus a free night certificate. It was about a $1,000 night room. Plus we got free breakfast for a family of 4, which is about $150 each day. I did actually have my dad come over for a Father's Day brunch, and they comped the entire meal for that as well. Plus we had valet parking since we had status with Hyatt. which was $80 a night. And they had a full-length pool, which I invited Rich to come and swim in on his off day, but he did not come swim, and then we smoked him in the doubles the next day, so he probably should have came over.
That would have been the helpful piece. So all in, we're talking like, what is that? Close to 3 Gs?
4,000.
Yeah, $4,000.
At least probably like $4,000 of value. So I spent 58,000 points.
So basically free. For that, how many points did you say?
58,000. It is a lot of points, but it was the world champs too. So
yeah, that doesn't seem like a crazy amount.
Yeah, and you probably got 100,000 plus for your bonus offer, so you had plenty left over for the future.
Oh yeah, I still got a lot. Don't worry.
Oh, we're good. Jack, what about you? What do you like to
I
hang
would
your
say
hat on?
I would say two. My best individual flight. Look up Qatar Airways. This is coming back from Dubai Games, and it is a lie flat seat that's considered like it has its own pod. Basically, my brother and I, we booked it using American points and then transferred it to Qatar. We got some screaming good deal. And this flight, I looked it up after, and it would have been about a $7,000 one-way ticket. The night, it's one of 2 times that I've ever fallen asleep on a plane. Absolutely worth it. Service is just as good as they talk about. But my best one was, and I don't know if it's going to be offered now that there are so many changes in the future, but Southwest Companion Pass, you basically can get buy one, get one free on flights for you and someone that you're able to change 3 times a year if you want to, but I kept it with Audrey the whole time. I had 7 weekends in 8 weeks where I went to TMX, Sacramento, Miami. I did the Stadium Series in New York. I went to DC. I went to Audrey's family in Georgia. I went to a wedding in Texas, and I visited my family in New Hampshire. 7 flights in 8 weeks. I used all of the points, the 120,000 that I got. I stayed under that they gave me for signing up for their credit cards. Audrey sat next to me for free every single flight, so 0 out of pocket for 7 flights in 8 weeks, besides $5.60 each way as a tax.
That's pretty good.
It's
Then
gonna
you
be hard
gotta
to
fly. Then you gotta fly Southwest and be
I didn't care.
huddled in there like freaking cattle. Like
they're changing that.
In line. I heard
Yeah.
that. Like, is that going to change their?
I got in I got in basically what Spartan 2013 era for Southwest. I got in when it was good.
Are they going to change their points because of the way that they're changing their stupid seating system?
They have changed basically everything. Yes, the points are more tied into like the cash value now. There are still definitely good deals, though. Just like Jack, I had the companion pass for 2 years, and then my wife had it for 2 years. So we always get those.
We did the back-to-back. Audrey got
buy
it.
one, get one. And this is a whole another thing, but essentially, if you time it up right when you sign up too, you sign up for these credit cards and you get it for a full 2 years.
You were telling me like there's like a timing.
You got to wait till
you guys both were like,
the time is actually coming up, and I might
got
to re-up mine.
Yeah, talk to us in about November, and we'll give you the info. Don't do it now. Save your Southwest application until the final 3 months of this year. That's all we'll say for now.
And just in general, right? And this was something that I also had to kind of wrap my head around in terms of value, like hotel stays and airline upgrades for dollar to point value is going to be the best bet. Like I was like, I was telling Marcus, I was trying to buy a camera with it, right? And it ends up being like you can still get something for free, right? But it's like the value doesn't add up the same way.
You wanted to trade in your points for a camera instead?
Yeah, like I could buy a full camera.
Yes, these things do matter, but also sometimes, especially as people get into the game, they get caught up in this cents per point thing. So like I was mentioning this hotel, Jack was mentioning this flight that we probably never would have taken if we didn't have the points. So it's like, how do you value it then? Because if I didn't have the points, I would just take a normal flight.
Right.
So yes, you can do those like more luxury things, but it's also like staying at a Hyatt place for 5,000 points a night, and then you can stay for a whole weekend. It's 35,000 points, and the flights were 5,000 each way, and all of a sudden you're a week-long vacation for less than 50,000 points. So there's many different ways you can do them. Those might not have as much of a cents per point value, but it may align more with what you actually want to use them for and the utility of the points.
Right. So if you don't even travel, you just want to take photos, get a camera.
Never do that.
Why are you
find it
listening to
better.
this travel episode if you want to spend it on camera?
They're just locked in. All right. So I got 4 different, or maybe we can work through a couple different scenarios that we're going to talk about when it comes to someone who might be traveling for HYROX, who might be listening to this episode. And then you guys are going to give your recommendations for credit cards or point systems that they should try to look into. So the first scenario we have is what we're calling the weekend warrior. This is someone who maybe races 2 to 4 times a year. They're budget conscious. They want to minimize their cost on travel, but they don't spend a ton. So what would be their best bet if they wanted to open up a card to no debt? None of these scenarios have debt. They all meet our rules. What would you do for someone that is in that scenario? Travels a little bit, but doesn't want to spend a ton.
I just want to set this is for a US based athlete. Is that
This
what
will
we're
be,
all?
this is you. Will be US, yes.
Yes, and we didn't mention this earlier, but points in the US and I believe Canada are very much a thing. In Europe, they pretty much don't exist as far as
Credit's
credit
not really
points.
a thing like that, right?
So in Europe, the like interchange fees, the fees businesses pay to accept credit cards are capped very low, like 0.3%. Where in America, they're more like 2 to 3%. So obviously those costs are probably getting passed on to us in some way. So that in Europe, they have it better in some ways with those fees, but
Well,
we get to play the points game.
They brought on people drowning in debt like we do over here.
Yeah.
That like a buddy of mine who is German was living over here and he just didn't have a credit card. Great job doing whatever. So like when he tried to buy a car when he moved over here, he had no credit. So like we can't give you a loan. So he had to come with cash, right? Because it's not part of their right. Like, well, he had it, right? That's the whole thing. It's like, no, we can't give it to you because we don't know, because we need to make interest from you and we haven't been able to do that.
But you want to know who needs credit? Marcus's 12th card. Let's do it.
Yeah. Right. Who we don't make a cent off of. You like you guys don't give them anything. They're just hoping that you slip up at some point and have 11 cards that hit overdraft at one time. I don't hope that for you, but it is a possibility.
It won't happen.
I have slipped up. You just call them and say, hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It won't happen again. And then they're like, we'll waive it.
Would you like 30,000 points with that as well? All right. So yes, this is going to be US. This is not going to apply as much in Europe. So let's talk about this weekend warrior. Jack, where would you push them first?
I would say it depends on where you live, because certain markets are going to have specific airlines. Typically, if you're in Dallas, you're probably going to have American Airlines. Like you get routed through there all the time. If you're in Atlanta, you're going to have Delta, for instance. So it depends on where you live, but I would always start with one of those big 4, whether it's a Chase Sapphire, an American Express Platinum or Gold, and then Citi and Capital One also have some pretty good offers out there. But I would probably start with a Chase Sapphire or an Amex card, just so you could transfer to a lot of places. How about you, Marcus?
Yes, and to be more specific, if someone wanted to start this today with that profile, I would tell them apply for the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Literally today.
The bonus for that is 75,000 points currently, which is generally a pretty good offer. A lot of times it's more close to 60. So they would be able to apply for that card. Once they hit the spend, you're also getting points for the spend. They'd be probably close to 100,000 points. Then you start just taking those points and transferring them. So you would you go on the app, you look up the airlines that those points transfer to, and that's who you can use to book. I mean, we were talking about Southwest. They can transfer to Southwest. They can transfer to United. And then hotels, I'm a Hyatt guy, so I would just transfer all those points to Hyatt. But that would easily get you probably round-trip flights and hotel nights close to a venue for at least 2 of those trips, maybe even like 3 to 4 of them if you are able to find good deals.
What did you say the offer was? The spend, the spend?
It is 75,000 now. I'm not sure what the spend is. I'm sure it's
for the
like
preferred.
$4,000.
Usually it's $4,000.
Yeah. $4,000 in 3 months.
5,000 first 3 months. It says right now.
So if you can spend $5,000 in 3 months, and so your race would have to be then down the road. right?
Well,
'Cause you need to
you
get,
could spend $5,000 right away if you have a home repair, and then next credit statement they'll give you those points as soon as you pay it off. So you could get this next month if you
so
have
if
a
you
big
have something
expense.
big, okay. But if like say you spend $1,700 a month, that's just like where
Mhm.
you live. Like you're gonna need those 3 months to get there. So it
Yes.
might take a little bit of back if like you are very budget conscious, you don't have anything really going on. Then you will have to work backwards a little bit.
Or you could pay for your first trip. Unfortunately, you could pay for it in cash, and then that could be a big part of your spend towards it. And then after that, you'd be able to be in the points game.
Yes, fund your points by
You,
the travel.
you typically get more points when you spend it on travel related expenses also. So yeah, that would kind of snowball a little bit for you.
Are you guys like, do you guys like when you meet another points person, you like know what's going on, like how you know it's like the playoffs in baseball or something like that? Hey, been
Yeah.
watching the playoffs, and you guys are like, hey, did you see that bonus offer that Chase has right now? It's pretty crazy.
Soon as Marcus said cents per mile, I was like, I like this guy. Yeah.
You both knew the offers were at the same time. Jack's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's a good one. It's happening right now.
Yeah.
Jump on that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I wish I was in this inner circle. I'm just from the
You're
outside.
close. You're close.
You guys just look at me like freaking noob.
Yeah, we were one
Okay.
too.
So like a Chase, and what's the is that
$95 annual fee for that one. I don't know if the preferred comes with TSA pre-check. Some of the other ones they do. Like say that you want to get into the airport a little bit easier through security because you're always going to have to do that. Some of the higher end ones come with that, but I don't believe the preferred does.
does Clear ever come with them?
You typically get like $120 credit towards the program of your choice, so you could do Clear if you wanted.
And if you're international, global entry, I know I've never paid for global entry, and that you have to do for kids also. So that was actually a big savings for 4 people getting free global entry.
Not a guarantee to get global entry,
If
and
you have a criminal background, yeah, be careful.
you must understand that it's not a guarantee. So if you're like, I got the TSA pre-check coming for me, they'll know about your DUI and you won't be able to get it. All right. So, okay. So, and that's something else too. Like with the budget conscious, sometimes spending anything can be a tough pill to swallow, but you can rationalize that $95 like spend pretty easily, right? So you should have a plan for that. Is there anything that has zero enrollment fee that you would recommend if there was like I'm just starting, I don't want to pay anything, I don't know if I'm going to use this, like let me just open one that has nothing?
These offers kind of suck on their website. Like, but if you just want to save money, I feel as though you're going to get much more value than the $95 it costs you to have that fee by going with that card versus some of these lower.
I know
annual
that,
fee
but
ones.
what if you just don't? What if you're just like, I don't want to pay it?
Like City, they have one that's 30,000 points with no annual fee. That's transferable to Americans. So yes, you could do that. Chase Freedom Unlimited, that's more of like a cash back.
Yeah, and in some ways you do. So if you got to chase Freedom Unlimited, this is also maybe into the weeds a little bit, but it says cash back. But if you do have a preferred, you can transfer those points over to your preferred, and then you can actually use them for travel. Whereas if you didn't have the preferred, you can't. So it's probably beneficial to have at least one card that might have close to like $100 annual fee because it opens up a lot of other card possibilities. You don't need to
So that
have
could,
like 5 different cards with big annual fees, but probably at least one.
so that could be a rule if we were to put one. It's like, hey, if you want to maximize travel for these races, you're most like, it's like I would tell people this when I was working in running shoes. They'd be like, what running shoe should I get? It's like, look, if you spend $120 on your running shoe, no matter what you get, if it's comfortable, it's probably going to be good. It's probably gonna be worth your while. Like if you're getting the budget one, if you're spending 75, you might like run the risk that they're not that good. So kind of the same thing here with credit cards. It's like if you have like if you're going to spend like $95 to $100 on an annual fee, you're probably going to have a point structure that is going to be valuable for this type of travel stuff.
Yeah, like Marcus just mentioned, 75,000 points for the one with the $95 fee, 30,000 for the zero annual fee. So that's 45,000 points. You're going to get way more than $95 worth of value from that gap in points.
All right. So if you have this scenario, just like spend it, just deal with it, and just commit.
And Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong. We forgot to mention this earlier. Your annual fee is due during your first bonus cycle, right? You can't, or do they waive it
Can you
for
push
certain
it?
ones?
Most cards, you pay for the first.
You have to do it right
when
away.
you get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So you can't be like, oh, I'll cancel it 11 months and 30 days from now. You have to. That's part of the. You get it. in
Have
your
it on
office.
hand. Have it on hand. That doesn't go toward your points though, does it? Do you get points off of your?
It also does not go to your spend.
should.
Sometimes you'll cut it close with the spend because they spent over
think it's gonna be the-
$3,000 with the annual fee. But so yes,
On
make sure
eligible
you
I feel like
reverse
it
that as
should.
well.
I feel like it should. It's lame. Okay. Next scenario. So let's say Weekend Warrior, any card with the $95 thing that has a preferred next to it must be preferred.
It might not be preferred, but
Might not be
a similar card.
Yeah, preferred is a specific
That's a-
sub brand
that's a-
of the Chase Sapphire.
It's a chase thing. A lot of words. This is just like footwear. Let's get BK in here. He'll have, let's say, it's just like the
He's gonna
names of
tune
it
out
all.
just like I do when you mention all your shoes. This is my shoes.
This is exactly right. All right. So the next scenario, someone we'll call them the high spender, someone who spends a lot. Maybe they are let's call them a business owner as well. They can rack up some points quickly, and they want to get some of like the premium perks because they can spend a lot and they can spend a lot fast. They have a business where a lot of expenses that are pretty predictable, so their points can go a long way. So let's consider the bonus offer for this, but also the points that they could accumulate just via spend.
Marcus, you take the hotel. I'll do the airline version.
I would never recommend just a hotel or airline card.
Okay. Well, the one that
again
would be more beneficial to transferring to hotels. That's what I meant.
Let's do a base card, and then we can
Okay.
do one of each.
Well, basically for this, I would start if you have high spend. This person doesn't sound like they'd be worried about a larger annual fee. This is where you would start to look into some of the more like premium cards. So something like Amex Platinum, a Chase Sapphire Reserve, not the preferred, or like a Capital Venture One, whatever they call it, which is their premium card. A lot of those do have higher annual fees, maybe like $500 to $800, but the perks easily make up for it. One thing I think is pretty awesome, all these banks are starting to have travel lounges. So if you have a home airport that has like a Chase lounge or a Capital One lounge, they are very nice. It would get you a lot of value every time you fly out of there. You could stop in, get a meal, have some drinks. Maybe not if it's before your race, but so
After
something like that,
mimosas.
I would look in. I know I've spent time in a real nice Capital One lounge post Deca Fit Worlds all by myself, drinking some beers. It was a great time. So looking into something like that, I think is probably where I would be for that person.
Just drowning those sorrows with that, getting out leaned at the tape.
That actually, yeah, I didn't want to bring that up.
I remember.
Rich had a bad day there.
So okay,
But one thing on lounge access, that's another perk for the high spender. They might want a little lounge access. It's worth mentioning, if you get access to a lounge, it is only on your departing way. You can't land and be like, oh sweet, I'm going to the lounge. You have to have a departing flight in order to use that lounge. So just keep that in mind. But I'll vouch that Chase Sapphire lounge in Boston. I have flown into Boston instead of Manchester Airport, where I normally do, several times, or flown out of there specifically just so that I can use that lounge. It's awesome.
I guess that makes sense. It's kind of stupid that they would like gatekeep your lounge if you're just like a member there, but like, why would you go to a lounge when you are where you're supposed to be? I think that's
overcrowding.
Yeah, I mean, like, but why would you do it? I guess if you were like waiting on a ride or something like that. But if you're balling like this, you're probably renting a car, getting Uber. It's not like that. I don't understand. And Jack, what card for base? So, Marcus, you said the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Platinum Amex.
Yeah, each bank essentially has like their version, like their high-end card that offers more stuff like that. But even with that annual fee, I know I think the Capital One would grant you like lounge access, but then you get a whole bunch of points when you sign up. And then also I think each year has like a $300 travel credit. As long as you use that through their portal, you're almost already covering the annual fee again. So
it effectively reduces your annual fee amount by $300. Like they're like, as long as you use this card, you're gonna get it. But if you don't, that's when your fee is really, really high. But
And go ahead, Jack. I'll have some follow-up.
I was gonna say my pick. I would also agree with either the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the American Express Platinum card. So right now, it says the American Express Platinum card, $695 annual fee, but you can get up to 175,000 points. That's not for everybody. I think that it's
How much
a
spend
certain,
on that?
that I think it's like 30,000. I'll have to look. Okay, actually 8,000 in your first 6 months. Never mind. That's a pretty
That's for
solid one.
personal. That's personal or business? That's probably
Personal.
personal.
Yeah. So that one's pretty good. But currently, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is Chase's highest luxury card, they have 100,000 point offer plus $500 Chase travel promo, which is what Marcus was mentioning. You basically get $500 to travel for free. That offer ends in 2 days, so on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So
Set your clock.
Unless this episode doesn't get out in time.
yeah, just get one of those time machines.
You
Yeah,
missed it.
but it's likely it has a 60,000 crossed out, so that's probably going to go down to 60,000 after this promotional offer ends. But 60,000 on Chase, that can get you a long ways.
And between those two, I have an Amex, right? And I have like the base. It's like the base one. I think there's like a small annual fee. But as we were working, Jack and I were trying to get me to Hamburg on something like this. The transferable points was like not as robust, it seemed, in Amex. Is there a difference? Would you guide them on one direction or another if traveling to races was their primary goal?
Yes, definitely. So there are certain partners. I would say if you fly on Delta, you're probably going to want to go with Amex. If you fly on United or Southwest, you want to go with Chase. If you fly American, you'll want to go with Citi. So there are certain typical transfer partners. Like I fly out of Colorado, and most of the time I'm either starting or connecting through Denver. They're a hub for Southwest. They're a hub for United and
Frontier. Don't forget.
I'm not getting a Frontier credit
Don't
card.
forget.
Don't do that. But I've flown them many, many times. But it makes much more sense for me to get Chase because that's who they transfer to than it would for me to get American Express because there is a huge Delta presence, for instance, at Denver, which is why I would recommend you should get Chase instead, Rich.
Thank you. I will. Yeah, because Sky got this Amex trying to transfer. I've had interesting experiences when booking through the platform portal, right? Because they will incentivize you to get more points by booking through them. Have you guys had a hard time doing that? Like, I've had to change things before, and it's like, oh, you booked through third-party channel, like we can't help you.
It's like an
And
Expedia.
It's like an Expedia.
I would generally not recommend that. Your best bet is to not use the portal. Like the portal might get you a decent redemption, like 1.5 cents per point, but you'll get a better redemption and you get that better service when you book directly with the airline or with a hotel. So really the only way I would ever use the portal is if, like we were talking about, you had some sort of credit that you had to use up that came with the card. But as far as spending your points, the best bet is basically always going to be you would go on the app. It shows their transfer partners. You find that transfer partner and transfer them. So I transfer Chase points to United and then book that versus booking a United flight through the Chase portal. I would not do that.
Right. I agree.
They incentivize you to do it, but it's a worse experience.
They advertise, they're like, you can get 1.5 times the value by booking through the portal, but in reality, it's not worth it. I've used it one time ever.
Yeah, it sucks. So keep that in mind. And one more thing about spend for someone in this scenario where, say, a lot of their spend goes, whatever, they're spending a lot of money on marketing or utilities or something like that, or not utilities, or some sort of inventory type of thing, like something that is like reoccurring and a lot. It's like a physical product they're buying. Is there a card or different things, or is there an option to like maximize the amount of points you're getting for the purchases that are personalized to you? And that maybe because maybe they're not traveling, right? They don't travel for business. They just like have inventory and build stuff.
Yes, there's definitely. I mean, it would be specific to your situation, but I think that's like the Amex Gold Business. I believe you get like 4x points on like marketing spend. I know there's some Chase ones you get like 4 or 5x on utilities or phone bill. So yes, you look in, especially if you're a high spender, then that's where maximizing that could really benefit you with a lot of points. If you don't have a lot of spend, sign up bonuses is probably the way to go. If you do have a lot of spend, you can still do sign up bonuses, but also making sure that you're really optimizing for whatever that recurring is going to be.
If you look at the travel blogs, a lot of people who are really into optimizing it, they'll have like a label on it, and they'll have their card, and it'll say like groceries and gas, and that's the only thing they'll use that specific card for, because it gives them 5 times points. And then if it's utilities, they'll be like, I have to use this one because it gives me 3 times, and nothing else gives me more than 2. So you can categorize it, but that's more of an issue once you have a lot of them later. But in general, like, find the one that you like, make sure you hit that minimum spending first before trying to optimize.
Okay, cool. Good to know. All right, this next one is for someone who travels often but is on a budget. I call this the aspiring pro. Some young kid who's going to be a pro HYROX athlete, got no money, but is like traveling a lot.
What are your thoughts on getting status with an airline, Marcus? Do you think it would be beneficial to just go after one and just see what happens if you're going to be flying a lot? Because you usually have to spend about $5,000 on that airline, specifically on flights, plus fly about 10 times a year, one-way segments. So you might be able to get status, which could give you extra legroom automatically or some other perks by getting status with them. On the other hand, it's like maybe you just want to fly Frontier Spirit every time just to get you from A to B, and you're just trying to save as much money. Are you talking more the second person, Rich?
I guess it would be personal preference, right? Like trying to stretch your dollar or getting yeah, I didn't think about it that way, Jack. It's like your experience while flying can hurt or help your performance. These are somebody who's going to be flying probably, 3 to 4 times each season, like 8 to 10 races a year.
I'd probably go after trying to get status. I'm trying to do that right now. In the past, I've typically been, if Southwest is cheaper than United and my previous 3 flights were on United, oh well, I don't really care about status. I just want to get there as cheaply as possible. But because I've made a couple trips to the Middle East this year, I'm like, oh wow, I'm pretty close to getting status with them, which will get me premium economy automatically, like if it's available in all of next year and then a little more. So for me, I'm in that stage this particular season, but I've also been the other one where I just want as flexible as possible so that I can decide to go Southwest this time and then United next time, or whatever my best options are for saving money.
Yeah, there are definitely 2 ways. Yeah, you either go all in on probably one airline, or you do what we've been talking about with like these transferable currencies. So you have that flexibility to say, hey, I want to get from this place, I need to get to this place on this date. What's going to be the cheapest economy flight to get there? If it's domestic, then once you're there, you can still use those points. Like I said, you look up Hyatt. Usually, like their category 2 is like a Hyatt place, and it
Let's
could
look
be
up
as
somewhere
cheap
else. We can go to any hotel we want, not just Hyatt.
any hotel. But I mean, Hyatt, generally the best redemptions are for those super cheap rooms or for the super expensive rooms, is where you're getting sort of the most value. So you could spend 5,000 points and you're getting a $200 a night Hyatt place. So for someone who is on a budget and they just want to race as much as they can, doing something like that, you can easily do a trip, 2 nights and a hotel and flights for 20,000 points.
So this might be a good way. So this is like the individual cards might be individual property cards, and airline cards might be the best bet for someone like this, because they'll probably get the most value out of that, because they're probably not going to be spending a ton outside of like just these things.
And oftentimes they'll come with that companion certificate. Like I know that Delta has that. I think Alaskan Airlines has something similar, where once a year, and I think even American had it at one point, you can, for $100 or something, you get to bring a friend on you. It doesn't matter if your flight costs 500 or 200. If you trade in that certificate code, if there's a seat available at the time of booking, they'll be able to go with you for free. So if you want to bring a friend, you're like, hey, let's travel, let's do it. That's all it'll cost. So airline specific, you're not going to get that with the Chase Sapphire, for instance. But if you get the Delta specific credit card, you probably will.
And how about someone that was going to use HYROX as a way to kind of travel and explore the world? Someone's going to has a little bit more to spend. Yeah, more the vacationer. What does that change? Is that different than the high spender, or where would you push someone for that who wants to maximize their experience while traveling?
Going to Europe or Asia, or like doesn't matter.
Anywhere, yeah.
Where'd you go, Marcus? I'll let you handle it.
I have not used my points to travel internationally at all. Besides
All right.
going
Jack-
on
this is a Jack
Mexico
question.
trips with the family, so those don't really count.
Okay. So in that case, you can get some pretty sweet redemptions. They're like Air France and Virgin Atlantic. You basically book on their website. This is kind of Marcus's example early on, where you book on their website to fly on a different airline, and you can get some really cheap flights. Like I went from Boston to Rome for 12,000 points, and that was a super good deal. But if I booked that, I booked it on Virgin Atlantic's website, but I flew on Air France. If I looked on Air France's website, that same flight was 25,000 points. So you can kind of get these like hidden value spots. So if you have an airline that, or a card that can transfer to airlines that have those like really sweet redemption spots, that's what I would go with. And Chase Sapphire tends to have some pretty good ones.
One card to rule them all. Is that what we would say? Let's rank our cards. If you had, what's the best card for just like anybody? It sounds like Chase Sapphire situation. Been mentioned a lot.
Chase Sapphire Reserve is their high end, preferred is their low end. So if you want to spend $800 a year, you might not get all the benefits. It used to be $600 a year. This past year they increased it, and then they're like, but we're giving you a Peloton membership and like access to our luxury hotel brands, but like you can't. I don't know. I don't see as much value in it, so I'm actually considering downgrading that one and getting the Reserve instead, because I don't feel like I'll get as much value with the higher end anymore. But you can't go wrong with Chase Sapphire.
100%, I would start with the Chase Sapphire preferred.
$95 fee.
$95 fee. The other one is, this is real expensive. I'm in the business ones right now, but the business one's like $800. It's quite a bit.
So
I think the spend on that is like 30,000. You would have to have a real business for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be 30,000 in 6 months. So yeah, we're looking at $5K a month. So business.
You're a real business owner. You don't.
So
just
business. Yeah, right. CrossFit gym spend, probably hard to do. We hope.
I did always line up getting a new credit card with the affiliate fee. When you had to pay, you could pay that on credit card for CrossFit. So that was always a nice.
So like 3 Gs.
It's basically 3 Gs. Yeah, so it'd be a sign up bonus every year.
Just get a new assault treadmill every year. With that too.
I also would line it up with that. Or you're buying some
$7,000.
Concept 2 machines. Yeah, you can easily hit those spends.
Yeah, the members will know when your credit card points are, when your credit card's up for redemption.
When Marcus is gone
for renewal. Yeah.
He's taking a vacation suddenly. Marcus, I normally I don't promote stuff, but I believe if you currently have one of these credit cards, you have a referral link. If you want to message us, if you found this valuable, reach out to us. We get a little kickback. I think that you get a slightly increased offer as well if you use the link. So that might be, if you liked what Marcus and I were talking about, we've got several cards. Feel free to reach out and we'll send you a link.
Maybe we'll put together a little guide for the people, and we'll include your affiliate codes in the guide.
Yes, if you want to participate in the Debo Jack consulting service, generally the way these things work is one thing I also want to mention before is referrals can get you a lot of points. So let's say if you do want to apply for something like a Chase Sapphire Preferred, you message Jack or I, we give you a link. That just kicks us back like 10,000 points. It doesn't change anything for that person. So then if you do that, and then we get those points, we could also help you to redeem them. So if you use a referral link from us, we guarantee we would help you, if you want to find a flight or a hotel. But past that also, if you're just getting started into the game, so you could use our referral link to start up. But then another way to accumulate lots of points is you have in the credit card world, it's called P1 and P2, player 1, player 2. But if you have a significant other that can also get credit cards, so let's say I get a Chase Sapphire Preferred, I get 75,000 points. I refer my wife for that referral. Maybe I get 15,000 points. My wife gets 75. All of a sudden, if you're a couple, you have 200,000 points in a year just from getting those 2 cards. Then you can redeem them together. So yes, that is also another way to really boost everything up quite a bit.
We both did our significant other purchase or got the companion pass in opposite 2-year cycles. So yeah, that's the way to go, and it helps you extend all of your little bonuses.
My wife has so many credit cards she doesn't even know she has.
All right, I have no, I have a card that doesn't even, there's no annual fee. I have the business blue card. Like I said, it wasn't great with credit cards for a while, so I had to get what I could. I had to take what I could get. Boys, what should I do? I need to upgrade my credit card situation. Small business. Okay, spend $5,000 a month is a little bit much. But what should your mans get?
You should get a personal Chase Sapphire, and then you should get a Chase Ink for the business.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
Chase Ink, that's the one that's like 95.
I think most of them are no annual fees.
Why don't I get one with an annual fee? You don't think I can get an annual fee one?
There's a Chase Ink Preferred, but you could save that for later. I would get the Chase Ink Cash, Chase Ink Unlimited.
Without looking, what's the intro bonus right now for the preferred?
Probably close
95.
to 90 or 100,000.
Oh, bonus, not the annual fee. Sorry.
What's the bonus? What's the spend?
Personal 75,000 bonus, and I'm gonna guess. I thought it was 5,000 in 3 months.
I'm looking at the okay. I'm looking at the Ink Business Preferred.
Okay,
75,000 points with $5,000 in spend.
Jack,
that was exactly what I just said.
Oh, you said the same
Wait,
thing.
did he say?
Yeah.
Okay, you're both wrong. 90 with 8,000 in 3 months. That's doable. We can make that happen, baby. And that's 3 times points. And you get all the Chase stuff. What was the other one you guys said? To Chase the individual card?
That's the preferred.
Chase Sapphire Preferred. Okay. And we're locked. What are our bonus here?
That's the 75,000.
That's
spend
the 75.
5,000 in 3 months.
Yep.
And one other thing on the timing of that spend, a lot of people, they really cut it down to the wire. You get approved. Like, say that you apply for one of these, you can't decide, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, you click submit, it approves you. And from that second, that is when your spend starts. You don't get your card in the mail for a couple more days, most likely. They'll probably want you to spend right away, realistically. But if it takes 2 more days, your timer is already 2 days into that 3-month period. So just keep that in mind.
We're talking about all the benefits you can get from banks, but there's still scumbaggery associated with it. So that is a great example of just being like, I can't spend. I don't have the card.
They're scumbanks.
Scumbanks. All right, boys. What else? Anything else you gotta leave the listeners with here? I think we did a great job.
Not too confusing. Well, we can go much more in depth. I might add a few things into an article.
Maybe
just
we'll
have
bring
it live
it
on
back.
the website. Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring you boys back, depending on if anybody listens to this or listens to this.
Yes. If you made it this far, you can message Jack or I on Instagram, whatever you want to do. We can definitely help you out with both picking a card, or if you have points and you want to sort of redeem them. I think we both find it a little bit of fun to try and find like the best options from this city to this city. So definitely message us if you want any help.
And I'll just give a couple of general links. The website pointyeah.com, fantastic for figuring out availability. You can filter it out by which card you have or which points program. And Rich, that was the one that you and I were looking at. And that basically showed you, oh man, if I had something other than Amex, I might have been able to get to Europe cheaply. You can do some open-ended searches where you're like, I just want to go from the United States to Germany. What city will it be cheapest to get to? And then say it's New York. All you have to do is find a separate flight from, your hometown to New York, and then you book points for the second leg, for instance. So there you can get creative, but that's for another time.
Zibo, what's your favorite resource?
I like a blog actually called Travel on Point. They have a Facebook group also that is pretty good. It's not as polished, definitely, as something like Points Guy, but I think Points Guy got a little too corporate recently. So
I don't like their
Travel on
needing the
Points is pretty good.
email.
He's got too big, man. We like to keep it grassroots out here.
I liked them before they were big.
Yeah, you're in there. You're an early adopter. Cool squad. Great job out here, Jack. Anything else?
No, I was just gonna say, if you don't want to use points, I hope you're using Google Flights also, just in case you don't use points and you just want to figure out how much flights cost. That lists all the different airlines at once.
True or false? If you don't use like incognito, they'll jack your prices on you.
Allegedly, I always do it just out of habit, just because I've heard the rumor also. So,
Debo, what do you think? Is that true?
I haven't paid cash for a flight in so long, I don't even know.
Don't even matter, baby. All points. All right, squad. Good job. Talk to you all soon.